Have you ever wondered what it truly means to face a giant in your life, just like David faced Goliath in the biblical story? Let's take a step back into the dusty plains of ancient Philistia and meet this formidable character, Goliath. A name that echoed with power and dread in the hearts of the Israelites. Goliath, a man of great stature, was not only an imposing physical force but also a master of psychological warfare. He was boastful, intimidating, and exuded an unshakable confidence in his own strength. He issued a challenge that sent shivers down the spine of the Israelite army, to send forth a champion to fight him in single combat, a challenge that would leave many quaking in their sandals. This was the stage that was set for the unsuspecting shepherd boy, David. Goliath, a towering figure of power and fear. But is that all there is to this story? Let's move on to meet the boy who dared to face him. Enter David, a mere shepherd boy, not a soldier, not a warrior, but a boy with a slingshot. What could he possibly bring to this battle? David, young and unassuming, spent his days tending to his flock, safeguarding them from the prowling beasts of the wild. His was a life of humble servitude, his only weapon a simple slingshot. But beneath this unassuming exterior beat the heart of a lion, a heart filled with unshakable faith in God. David was no trained soldier, yet his courage was undaunted. When Goliath, the giant of a man, issued his challenge, it was David who stepped forward, not with the arrogance of youth, but with the conviction of his faith. His past experiences as a shepherd had prepared him for this moment, taught him that with God on his side, no adversary was too formidable. David, with his slingshot and his faith, was ready to face Goliath. But how? Let's find out. So there stood David before a giant. A mismatch, one may think. But is it really? David, a shepherd boy, stood before Goliath, a towering Philistine warrior. A scene of contrasts, a seeming mismatch. Yet David was not daunted. Instead, he approached the battle with a different mindset, a different strategy. He refused to wear the king's armor, for it was not his style, not his way of fighting. He knew his strength lay not in physical might, but in faith and finesse. A slingshot and 5 smooth stones, that's all David carried into the battlefield. Tools of a shepherd, not a soldier. Yet he had something else, something intangible. He had faith, an unwavering trust in God. He believed not in the power of weapons, but in the strength of his faith. He was not fighting this battle alone. God was with him. As Goliath advanced, David did not retreat. Instead, he ran towards the giant, slingshot in hand. He loaded a stone, took aim, and let it fly. The stone whistled through the air, guided by a force greater than David's arm. It found its mark, hitting Goliath squarely in the forehead. The mighty Goliath fell, felled by a single stone. The battlefield fell silent, the Philistines in shock. Their champion, the invincible giant, defeated by a shepherd boy. A victory, not of brawn over brain, but of faith over fear. This was not just a victory for David, but a victory for all who dare to believe, who dare to trust in something greater than themselves. A victory that reminds us that size does not determine strength, that the seemingly weak can overcome the seemingly invincible. David's victory over Goliath is a tale of faith, courage, and the power of God. It's a story that resonates across the ages, reminding us that with faith, with courage, with God, even the mightiest of giants can be defeated. With a single stone, David felled the giant. A victory for the underdog, yes, but also a victory for faith and courage. David and Goliath, a biblical story, yes, but also a tale of courage, faith, and facing one's fears. What can we learn from it? The narrative of David, this humble shepherd boy, is one steeped in conviction, bravery, and the power of belief. David's faith in God was his armor, his courage, his sword. He didn't see a giant. He saw a challenge that his faith could overcome. Now, let's transpose this tale to our lives. Each of us faces our own Goliaths, be they fear, doubt, hardship, or adversity. But like David, we too can stand tall, face our giants, and rise above them. It's not about the enormity of the challenge, but the magnitude of our faith and courage. David faced his giant and emerged victorious. What giants are you facing, and how can you overcome them? Remember, it's not about the size of your giant, but the strength of your faith.